And let's just get this clear. We're talking about the 1990s. This was a time when, in fact, the US was encouraging people to take up some arms or take up involvement in the battle against, effectively, Russia.
Well, no, that was a bit earlier. That was the 80s. The 1990s, there was the sort of civil war, you could say, going on, but within Afghanistan with the Taliban and the Northern Alliance. Now, interestingly, the Taliban were in negotiations with the US right up until August 2001. They were visiting the US and signing, gas agreements, oil agreements at that point. So to then accuse, even in this country, it wasn't illegal. So if we're going to court, this is a problem that Babar never had his day in court to defend himself against these allegations. So these are all points which can be made in a trial, which we're calling for in the UK. But we've never had that opportunity.
So you say against the allegations. There have been clear allegations, have there? There's been
an indictment. He's been indicted in the US, and there have been specific allegations that he was fundraising for fighters in Chechnya and in Afghanistan.
Now, it seems to me that Babar Ahmad has not only been denied his due process here in the UK, but clearly any due process anywhere else up until now. You say in a few weeks' time you expect to hear some results from the European Court, and that may lead to an extradition. It may lead to the beginning of something quite new here in the UK again. It seems almost sort of Kafkarian in the way that he's been locked up and the keys thrown away. How does the British government justify his incarceration for such a protracted period?
It's shocking, isn't it, that in the 21st century you can have a British citizen in prison in Britain without trial for over 7 years. If this was China, Zimbabwe or Pakistan, they'd be lecturing them on human rights. Yet the British government's justification is, well, Babar's fighting the extradition, and if he wasn't fighting the extradition, he'd be gone there tomorrow. It's almost going back to colonial times, where the crown, you committed a crime against the crown, and whether that was in India or in Africa, they had to put in the request, he's a subject of ours, he committed a crime against this country, against the crown, send him over. And automatically they're shipped over and given a trial in that country. Why should they? This is a British man, born and raised in this country, lived his whole life here, worked here, paid taxes here, no criminal record, and the offence of which he's accused, the bulk of it, is said to have taken place in this country. It just absolutely makes no sense for you to send him halfway across the world, away from family, away from friends, even with the type of sentences that they're handing out in America at the moment for terrorist suspects.
Well, I was going to come on to ask you that there can't be much that will be worse than him being incarcerated away from his family for the last 8 years. Why doesn't he go to the US and face a fair trial there? Or are you suggesting he won't get a fair trial?
If we examine the type of trials that have been taking place in the US recently, and one case you can just think of Dr. Afia Siddiqui, who went through the criminal justice system and who was actually convicted of a non-terrorism offence. But the whole trial was poisoned with allegations of terrorism, the whole courtroom atmosphere, such that this woman got an 83-year sentence. You're getting sentences like that in the United States. The prison conditions he's facing is to be held in a supermax prison, which you would have 23-hour-a-day lockup, on a concrete bed, 1 hour of recreation on your own, no association with other prisoners, 15 minutes a month telephone calls. What's he going to do with that? Inmates in there have gone mentally insane from being in that prison. This is what Europe is trying to rule on, whether that would breach his human rights. Now, even a person with common sense can see that this is the conditions you're being sent to, even while you're awaiting trial. Why would you want to go there? And why should he go there? The point goes back to the matter that in a matter of due process, a matter of the rule of law, he should be prosecuted in this country.
Now, 8 years is a long time. It must have taken its toll on Babar Ahmad's health and that possibly of his family, his state of mind. Can you give us some insight into the impact of this prolonged incarceration to date?
This is something which nobody can really understand unless they're very close to a family in that situation, or even those people don't truly understand it until you're family yourself. Now, I've known Babar's family for a long time, and you can see the impact on them. You can see their son. The parents have to travel, and they're elderly, they're in their 70s, and you have to get in a car, leave early morning, find someone to drive you all the way up to the Midlands. You go into a maximum security prison, You wait there for hours. You come, you get searched. You get a dog comes, sniffs you, stands up, sniffs your hijab, sometimes licks it. You go through, guards are mocking you, making fun of you. You know, it's this kind of intimidating atmosphere. And then you get to see your son in the distance we're sitting now for a period of about 2.5 hours. And then you take that long journey back. This whole day, imagine that once, twice a week for 7 years. Babar says one thing that he misses and which he really wishes he could do is even just to get up and give his mum a glass of water, something he can't do. You have his nieces and nephews who have only known him in prison. While he's been in prison, he's had 6 new nieces and nephews born, and they've all just known him from visiting him in prison. He's missed his sister's wedding. His aunt has died of cancer while he's been in prison. His grandmother's died. On all these occasions, one, he's on his own with no source of comfort or no family to help him. And on the other occasion, his family are without Babar. Elderly parents living alone, no one to look after them. Very elderly parents, very ill. His dad's been in hospital with heart problems. So all the stress is taking its toll. And the campaign, when we talk about the Free Babar Ahmad campaign, I want to tell the viewer something, that this is not some huge campaign with offices everywhere and telephones and printers. This is 2 sisters and a couple of extra extended family members working flat out. This is little kids being in the mum's lap while they're doing phone calls on CNN. This is the Free Babar Ahmad campaign. And it's only with the tawfiq of Allah that it's got this far that it has. And with this, why we really appeal to people to come help us with this campaign, because this has been the family's life for the last 7 or 8 years, if you count it. This has been the life of this family. There's been nothing else in their lives except this campaign.
Now, the campaign has taken a new turn. I understand that its intent is to raise 100,000 signatures by November the 10th. What's so special about November the 10th, and what do you expect to achieve with the 100,000 signatures?
The coalition government, when it came into power, said to become more accessible to the public and allow them access to the political parties, I suppose, they put in a system where that if you can launch an official e-petition on the government website and get 100,000 signatures, the issue that you're petitioning about will become eligible for a discussion in Parliament, which means that Babar's case will be discussed by MPs in Parliament. What we've asked for is not for Babar to be freed, no. We've asked for him to be put on trial in the UK, something very uncontroversial, very, very normal. In a normal country, you would expect that. But the fact that we've been asked to put 100,000 signatures just to get Babar to be put on trial speaks volumes for the way this country has nosedived. Now, if we get that 100,000 signatures, we can have that debate. The November 10 deadline is only there because we had to set a time limit. If we leave it too long, Europe might rule. We don't know what the decision will be. We want this government to discuss Babar's case before a European decision
You may
comes.
find, though, that you said a few weeks, the European decision comes before then.
Well, possibly. I mean, I don't think it'll be a few weeks. It'll probably be a few months. I mean, the fact is, Europe has had it for 4 years now. We don't know what their timelines are like, but this has been pretty long already. But that's why we are calling for people to get on the website, freebabarahmad.com, that's BABARAHMAD, there's no E's involved, .com, and sign the petition. There's a link there. You can find more about the case on that website. Click on the link and sign the petition. Get your mums, your dads, your children. It doesn't matter. The only condition is that they're British and that they've got an email address. If they don't have an email address, set one up for them. But we need to do this. We've got 13,000 when I last saw it today. So we're well off for 87,000, but I'm confident that the community can put it together. We've got 3 million Muslims in this country. I'm sure 100,000 of them have got access to email.
Well, that's a very big, bold bid, and you'll put, obviously, the government's new process to the test. Now, we're in September 2011. It's just past the anniversary of the now famous Twin Towers attack, known as 9/11. In which everybody has been exercised discussing the implications of 10 years of war on terror. It is of note that despite various promises of President Obama when he first took office to put an end to Guantanamo and all that it stood for, there are still many others incarcerated in that camp, including British citizens such as Babar Ahmad, who languish in a sort of state of legal limbo there. A camp which, according to the George Bush administration, falls outside US legal jurisdiction, and as such, detainees could legitimately be denied the protections under the Geneva Convention protocols. How is it, do you think, that people like Babar and Shaka seem to have fallen through that net of these fundamental universal protocol protections, even now under an Obama administration?
Well, Obama was the great hype. Personally, I was...
You said hype, not hope.
Yes, hype, not hope. Deliberate. Obama used to promise a lot about change, but the only thing he changed was his mind about things. Because in reality, Obama's not in control. It's the system. It's the American governmental system. And that's running the show there. Babar and Shaka are just two examples. There were cases that Obama inherited, but the reality is Obama's situation... Actually, I take that back. He has changed one policy. Bush's policy was detain without charge. Obama's policy is assassination. There's been an unbelievable increase in drone attacks, in assassination attempts in Somalia, in Yemen, in Pakistan, and Afghanistan since Obama took power. He's the first president to authorize the assassination of a US citizen, Imam Anwar Awlaki. He's authorized that. He signed off on it. So this has been the change Obama's brought. People who thought he would bring change were being naive and did not understand the political realities of the United States. One thing I will say about Babar's case, you said how come things haven't changed. This British government is so stubborn about extraditing Babar that they have certainly the Home Office have its own review about the extradition laws, and they even said that even if that review says, and we're expecting that review's report imminently, that even if that report says that Babar should not be extradited, we will extradite him because we will not be bound by that report. It will affect future cases but not current cases. Unbelievable. So if their own government review says that you should not extradite these people, such as Babar, they have said, no, we're not going to be bound by it. I mean, this is a government which is, and it doesn't matter whether it's the Labour government or today's coalition government, they are intent on extraditing Babar and people like him. And it's up to the people of Britain to sign this petition and stand up and say, you will not extradite one of us. Because at the end of the day, Babar Ahmad could have been any one of us. He was just chosen for this, but it's a way that we can expose the British government by signing this petition.
Sadly, we have run out of time in our conversation, and on that rather pessimistic note, I think it's fair to say, I'd like to say thank you very much for joining us, Farhad Ansari, the chief spokesperson for the Free Babar Ahmad campaign, and good luck in the campaign.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.